offense you're going against now that you all have a few. I mean, what makes that offense so difficult maybe to fit? What's the challenge?
Yeah, I think it's the run and the play action, and then the misdirection off of it, the bootlegs. And for me, fortunately, I was with Clint twice, in Minnesota, in Denver. I worked for his dad when his dad was a head coach. Kevin Stefanski, obviously, was in Cleveland. I worked with under Kyle Shanahan. So it's all parts of the same system. So when you get the run game going, you get the play action, it's hard to deal with.
Joe, can you kind of explain the benefit of Delonte Taylor having that year playing the slot now, and like how much that helps him going into the second year playing that?
It helps him a lot. We came back after they were going to the off season, sat down, looked at some of his tape from the season, and it was hard for him. It's up and down. I feel like personally, I could have coached him better, but making that transition from corner to nickel, now you're playing in space. When you play corner, you have like that sideline as extra defender, but now when you're in the slot, you got to defend the inside, the outside, you got to defend deep. So it's just making that transition and also being part of the run game. So I definitely know that he understands it better. Just from some of the plays throughout the OTAs, he's definitely further along. So I think he'll definitely make strides this season and play more consistent.
Is that both a mental and physical thing, like adjusting to that spot?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's different. You're down there, you got linemen pulling at you. You're hitting gaps downhill, running back. So there's a physical aspect in terms of the tackling where you have to play like a linebacker, but you still have to be able to cover slot receiver.
DA mentioned yesterday that him and Kool-Aid, the idea is for them to kind of compete for that inside job. Do either one of those guys have like safety flex if they don't, like the one that doesn't end up being the slot corner? Is there another way to get them on the field?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. There's multiple ways we get him on the field. I'm sure he didn't go into that, but I don't see him making that transition to a safety position. But we can put two DBs in terms of two nickels out there instead of a dime if we wanted to. So there's different packages we can use.
What was it DA also said yesterday that Delonte's ceiling last year is his floor this year? How much of an accuracy is there when it comes to the development?
I definitely believe that because it was a learning experience for him. Like I said, he never played in there. Like I said, it's a whole different world when you go inside because of the coverage aspect and playing the run game. So I think he's learned a lot just from sitting down and watching tape and just from the strides that he's made and improvements he's made in OTAs.
And the idea of having him, Kool-Aid, and Marshall on the field at the same time.
I love it. I have no problem with that. Right? Hey, the more the better.
Joe, I'll give you the Saints ranking against the pass last season in light of the relative down year they had up front getting sacks. I know sometimes the numbers are hard to read, but you ranked 10th against the pass. Do you feel like the coverage is really strong?
I felt like maybe our yards per catch. I feel like our numbers are a little bit higher, but at the end of the day, you can't give up explosive plays. And I feel like that was an area that we fell off a little bit. So we had to play cleaner in technique, not let the ball get over our head. But I thought we challenged guys. It made it hard for people to complete throws. I think we were just a little inconsistent in terms of getting off the ball.
Joe, what are your thoughts on what you've seen from Willie Gay so far? And does his athleticism give you a little more flexibility in terms of some of the packages you run?
Absolutely. And there's multiple things, but when you get a new player, you don't want to put it all out on them at once. So there's definitely some things we can do as him as a linebacker. We get to our Ruby package where we can play him inside or outside. But the athleticism is definitely there. He's big. You get him, he's a big man. But he's doing a good job. He's learning.
You've added size and versatility at every level during the offseason. How much are you foaming at the mouth to really get these pieces working in the regular season?
Definitely. That's always part of it. It's an exciting time now because, all your draft picks, the guys you signed in free agency, this is really the first opportunity to get them out on the field, right in a live situation in practice. So when you see the athleticism, you see the cover skill, you see the guys up front rushing, it's really exciting. I feel like, if we can pull it all together and stay healthy, I think we have a chance to play good defense.
How would you describe Marshawn Lattimore's mindset right now?
Really, I'm going to talk to him a little bit later on today. He came here, for the camp. But I think for him, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think he probably feels like he has something to prove. I think the last 2 years were tough on him, had some freakish injuries, really missed 50% of the season. So I think for him, people may have forgotten about him a little bit in terms of the status he's had in this league. So I feel like he may have a little chip on his shoulder. And, want to go out and prove himself again.
Your experience when you got a really talented player like that who's played at the highest levels,
Yeah.
who then adds that chip on the shoulder, like what can that do?
Yeah, I just think it's about the mindset. I mean, he's been a really good player in this league for a long time. He knows he can play at a high level. I think for him, it's just getting back to that. For me, coaching him, it's just when you have a talented player, you just want to make sure he understands what we're doing, teach him good technique, and just let him go. You know, he's that talented. Yeah, I definitely think he's looking for something to prove this year.
How much is consistency a battle for him? I mean, it seems like some days, games he's lights out,
Yeah.
and then there's other games. I know that's the nature of the position in the league,
Right.
but it seems like with a talent like him,
Yeah.
there's been a little bit of inconsistency.
I talked to him and everybody else about the same thing. You want to be consistent week in and week out, right? You don't want to ride up and down the roller coaster because the guys that play the best in this league are guys that are pretty consistent. They have very low lows, and the highs don't, get them out of whack. So I think for him, just whoever he's playing week in and week out, just play the best you can and dominate. And I think sometimes you play really good players, you rise up, and then maybe you feel like your matchup's not as good, maybe you're not as into that. So consistency is big for him, for sure.
What could Jordan? What are you looking for Jordan Howden to do year 2 to just kind of be more consistent?
Continue to develop. He battled through some injuries last year, but the one thing, he's smart, he's confident, he can play multiple positions. At times when we lost guys, we just throw him in and say, go play nickel. So he has that type of versatility. He'll definitely be more confident this year, and he's getting back to being healthy, but I think it'll be a big year for him.
Do you feel like you guys have everything you need at safety, or are you still kind of figuring that out?
No, I feel like we have the talent, in our room. I feel like we have guys who can play multiple positions. Whether we want to play nickel, we want to play dime, we want to play our Ruby packages. I feel like we can move the pieces around to create favorable matchups for us.
When you say you want to see him develop it, does that mean it's just generally just like everything get better with him?
It's just more experience. So, we talked about him last year where I think when he first got here, he was trying to be perfect. And when you go out there and you're trying to be perfect, you make mistakes. You have to go out there, trust in what you're supposed to do within the defense and play good technique. So I think he's kind of made it through that. So now he's not going to be worried about that this year. Just only go out and play football and execute the defense the way he's supposed to.